Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We've been doing this show since 2017, and our mission has been to find the best people on earth that are building the best hospitality businesses, the best technology business, and the best storytellers on earth. This is really exciting for me because I get to have a co-host as well as a guest who I've been connected to for some time now. Huge fan of what Avery is building. Avery is the CEO and founder. Well, you're the grandson, the grandson that's taking the restaurant to the next level. Somebody that I've been following for a long time now, but it is Little Italy Ristorante. Avery Ward, and my co-host is Moin Islam, who is the CEO of Shipday, and he has been a guest on the show and now is helping me co-host this episode, primarily because this thesis of ours is the intersection of technology and hospitality, digital hospitality. We truly firmly believe that every business needs to be digital first, especially brick and mortar businesses, and every business is in the hospitality business. So, Moen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for those in our audience that don't know who you are and what you're building, and then I'm going to kick it over to Avery.
Yeah, thanks, Shawn. Thanks for inviting us. I'm Moin. I'm the co-founder CEO of Shipday. At Shipday, we are really accelerating what we call direct deliveries for restaurants, so that our goal is you want to democratize access to delivery services so that you can really sell online freely. That there's no burden of offering a delivery service with commission and other stuff. You should be able to sell online or sell over the phone, however you want to do it. And Shipday helps you manage all your delivery work. So that's what Shipday does.
That's awesome. Thank you, Moen. And Avery, welcome to the show, man. Seriously, we've been connected on Facebook, we're connected on LinkedIn. We've had text conversations about Toast, about America's Best Restaurants, about Shipday. Finally, I get to have you on the show to share your story. Let the community and the audience know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, my name is Avery Ward, CEO of Little Italy Ristorante in Groveport, Ohio. I'm a third-generation operator. Started with my grandparents in the early 60s as a grocery store. My dad was a second generation, ran it for about 38 years, 39 years. Took over from my dad about 5 years ago after a corporate stint at Apple for about 5.5 years. Technology is my background and passion growing up in the restaurant business with my family. I had always been really intrigued by technology, and started when I was 16 years old, got a job with Apple, and that was my dream job. Like I said, worked for them for about 5 years and grew up through the company there, but realized that my passion was in the restaurant business. Just so it turns out where, there was a family need where my dad had some health issues and I had to come back to the family business. And I said, okay, if I do this, I'm going to do it right. We're going to, number one, blow up the business to what I know it can be. And number two, we're going to integrate technology through every part of that experience, whether it's the guest experience or the employee experience. I want technology to be a part of that.
Yeah, for me, it's exciting to, have you on to share your story and to have Moen here as well, because I believed when I first started this show that I was not alone, that I wasn't crazy. I wasn't a crazy restaurant owner, knowing that technology was going to help our barbecue restaurant here in San Diego. And the more that I started doing podcasts and videos and content on LinkedIn and eventually TikTok and YouTube and all these other things, the more I connected to other like-minded restaurant owners, hospitality professionals, tech founders, that we all have this belief that it doesn't matter where we are on earth, that it can be better, that we can actually deliver a better guest experience. Can you bring us into the Shipday story? How did you come across Mo, and how did you find Shipday, and how has it helped you get more pizzas to more people in your community?
Hey everyone, Avi Gorin, CEO and co-founder of Marquee, and I want to talk about the customer journey for a second. You never know as a restaurant owner where your guests are truly coming from. End of the day, we do see some patterns around two types of search behaviors: direct versus discovery. Direct search, for an example, would be jumping into Google and saying Cali barbecue hours, right? I know where I want to go to eat, but I'm missing a key detail. I need a little bit more information. Discovery, which is the bulk of searches, is barbecue in San Diego, restaurants near me, takeout near me, right? One of the best ways to be found for more discovery searches is leveraging keywords. Reviews are basically free content for you to leverage. Think about keywords that are relevant to your brand, your location, and include as many of those in your review responses as possible, right? How can you go about doing this? Let's set up reports, utilize tools like Google Trends, find out what's going on in your area and how you can help leverage these keywords and review responses, because someone else is doing that, right? If you need some examples, you could do anything from including summer menu, gluten-free menu, leverage specific menu items like the dreaded and beloved spice pumpkin anything in your review responses, right? Let them know what's coming. Let your reviewers know something they should come back and try. And of course, if all of this just seems overwhelming and daunting because you're already running a restaurant and have enough on your plate, just leverage the team at Marquee to do this for you. We handle all of this. We're experts in this space. We can automate this so it's just another item that you know you are taking care of. Again, that's marquee.com, marquii.com. Know you. However, we did recently buy marquii.com. So if you do misspell it, we got you. You'll still find us. We can still help you.
Absolutely.
If I may interrupt, Shawn, I
Sure.
would like I actually, maybe like I would like hearing your thought that, when you took over the business, how you started adopting technology. Maybe that's even precursor to Shipday, I'm sure.
Even before Shipday.
Yeah.
How did from the grocery store? When did you guys first go from grocery to pizza? Let's go there.
1979.
1979 was when the first pie was sold.
Yep.
And that was when you decided to give a taste of Italy, a taste
That's
of
right.
Italy to Ohio.
Yeah, so my grandparents purchased a pizza place a block down the street from their grocery store. It was called Baldino's Pizza, and it was kind of just like a little second venture. They were going to try it out, and ended up doing so well. They were only open Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, 3 days a week, and there was a line out the door every day for people to pick up the food. And the grocery store a couple years after that started to see a decline in sales, and so they ended up shutting down the grocery store and moving it into the old grocery store location. So the original name of the pizza place was Little Italy Pizza because my grandpa's grocery store was Chuck's Little Giant. So they kept the little in it and just used that kind of spinoff. And then, here we are 44 years later, opened up a brand new location 3 blocks down the road. I moved the business into that, built a brand new store, about tripled our size of the store. Went from a team of 12 when I came back to the business in 2018. We've got 82 employees now at our single store. And so, we've grown a lot, and, from my dad's era of running the business. I always say, it's like we're running our leg of the race where, my grandparents found the baton. They found the ambition to want to become an entrepreneur and, live the American dream. My grandpa was a grocery store produce manager for a local market for like 15 something years. And, he always wanted to have his own grocery store. So they were driving through town one day. They stopped at the little grocery store. It was called Smith's Market, and talked with the owner. A 5-hour conversation later, my grandpa walked across the street to the Huntington Bank, took out a loan that day, and bought the business, which also came with the house next door. And he raised his family in that house.
No way.
Yeah. So it's a pretty
How much
incredible.
was the loan?
$18,000. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, my dad was raised in the business. His sisters were raised in the business. All the grandchildren were raised through the business. And what's really cool about it is, customers the grandkids, we would always be at grandma's house, right next door. The buildings were literally feet apart. And, customers would pop in and see, Janet and the grandkids and my dad, if he was there, while they're picking up their orders and stuff. And so it was just always really cool how, customers have been so integrated with our family through the years, and, how that experience has grown to what it is now is pretty amazing.
Do you remember the first online order?
Yeah. It was with Revel Point of Sale. I
Okay.
signed up with them, and did online
You
ordering.
signed up. Were you responsible for going from a register to a point of sale?
Yep, everything was old school legacy, click, click, click computer type
What year?
system.
Give me a year. Give me a year.
Oh God, that I signed up with Revel, probably
Yeah.
2010. I was probably 12 to 15 years old.
No way. You
Yep.
were responsible for the tech implementation?
Yep.
At 12.
Yep. It was funny. I was on Facebook the other day, and it showed me when the Facebook page was created. I created it, and I actually misspelled the name of spaghetti in the word.
Oh,
I said
nice.
spaghetti wrong. It was in 2007 when I
Wow.
built the restaurant's Facebook page, and I did the math. I was 8 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. So the first online, well, even when you were on Revel, when did the actual first online order come through?
On Rev, I can't remember the day or anything, but I remember we
Yeah.
put it out there and I was pushing on our website. There was big pop-ups, order online, and we were pushing on our social media and stuff to get people to order online. And it just took off because I really geared all of our how do we market people to order online? How do we encourage them to order online? So it started off through our in-store, like we were just putting flyers on everybody's boxes, like order online next time, bring this coupon in for, I think it was 10 to 15% off, whatever it was. It started to take off there, and then that turned into launching mail advertising. I started doing mail advertising, and all the offers that were on the mail pieces were only valid for online orders. And then that turned into our phone systems when they call in, encourage people to order online, and they can click a button to be texted a link to order online. So like it has just evolved through the years to like, how can we encourage people to go online, place their order, not only for the convenience factor, avoid the wait, better accuracy, so forth. So it's kind of always been how do we get our customers there has been at the top of my mind.
Wow. And Avery, so first online order was not from a marketplace. Is it from your website?
Yeah, we launched directly on our website where people went to the
Wow.
Revel page where, yeah, it was our online ordering site.
Did you build the web page or did you have a third party?
I did it.
You did it.
Wow.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, that's amazing.
And as far as the delivery side of the business, when did you start doing enough volume where you actually needed to or wanted to hire your own drivers?
So we had always had our own drivers. When my dad started delivering back in the 90s, he had always had his own delivery, or maybe even the 80s, actually. Probably the 80s. He always had his own delivery drivers. And so the need for me to bring technology into that was really with COVID, where our delivery business surged. Being a pizza place, we were already set up for success to do really well during the pandemic. Pizza and Chinese, that's what people get for takeout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with everybody being at home, we were already really geared to doing great. The first month of COVID, I'll never forget, March 13th, I was driving to work and I heard it on the radio that Mike DeWine was on TV, the governor, and said that, all businesses are shutting down. You can only do takeout. And I was like, what the fuck are we going to do? Because we had a dining room that sat 70 something people. We had a wait staff usually every day with 2 servers on. We were doing great. We were cranking the sales and we thought things were going great. It was like, oh my God, this is going to be nuts. And then that day, that Sunday that happened, I remember orders were just flying through. We got so busy. We got demolished. And so much of it was delivery, and we literally could not keep up with it. So, that kind of led to, we only had one driver at the time. It was typically one guy who handled all the deliveries that day. And he knew everything like the back of his hand, like what customers were going to order that day, what they got, where they live. He knew it all. I mean, he was the best, and but it was really only used to 12 to 15 orders a day. And then the first day of COVID, he was closing out like 50 plus orders by himself. And he was like, I can't do this, man. I need more help. So then we got more drivers, and then that led to like, okay, how do we tell people, like the drivers, what orders to take, and which one should go first, and all of that logistics of it. And we did it by pen and paper for a while, and I was kind of the guy that organized all the orders and told, all right, you're taking this one, this one, this one, and here's stop 1, 2, 3. Here's all your items. They're bagged up. Get out of here. And then that led to like, okay, I need some kind of automated system that can take all of this information and automate the process of automatically assign the deliveries to the drivers, because just a few months in, we were up to like 7 drivers on staff, from one guy to 7.
Wow.
Like it blew up in a matter of a month and a half in 2020. And so that's kind of what led to me doing research and finding Shipday.
Where did you start your research?
Just Googling everything from, automated delivery systems. When I start Googling something and I want something, I go deep. Like I'll be on page of Google and I'll find it, And so it had popped up. This was long before they had integrated with Toast. It popped up and I had signed up to test it out of like, okay, could I build some kind of like, I almost thought of building some kind of like API key where I knew they accepted orders by email. So then I found out a way to find how I could get Toast to email a certain email address, the order confirmations, and then I had that auto forward out to them to then automatically create the order in Shipday. So like I said, it was long before the direct integration where things just flew, so
What do you
I
look for? What do you when
solution.
you're looking for a tech partner? What's the for somebody that, I mean, you, myself, we have a very robust tech stack. We have a very deliberate way that we go about picking our tech partners. Can you share with our audience somebody that might be thinking about whether it's point of sale, whether it's Shipday, whether it's delivery, how do you go about the process? Like you said, you go deep on Google, but then once you identify a partner, potential partner like Shipday, what do you do? The results are in. National Restaurant Association show. Kyle and Sarah and myself, we were at the Davos sales tax booth and we were polling restaurant owners on the floor. This was a very unscientific poll, but the results are resounding. Restaurant owners do not like sales tax. Nobody likes sales tax. Doesn't matter what business owner you are, small business, big business. Davo automates the sales tax process. We are so grateful that Davo is the sponsor of this show. They automate sales tax at our Cali barbecue restaurants. It is $50 a month. It integrates with all the major point of sale partners, including Toast. So if you want to sleep at night, if you want to not worry about sales tax, go to Davo, check them out. Davo Sales Tax. Let us know how they're helping automate your sales tax in your restaurant so that we can share your Davo story on digital hospitality.
I'm really good with exploring all avenues of technology. Once I get access into the back end, I can pretty much figure out if it's going to work for me in about 30 minutes. I just dive into every feature and setting. I'll read their support articles, like I go in. But I think on the main side of if I think it's going to be a long-term solution or not is oftentimes the willingness of the owner of the company or employees of that company are willing to accept your feedback and make change off of it. Moen, Adim, they've been fantastic to work with at Shipday for this reason, where it's like, I text them something, whether it's like an issue or an idea, I'm like, hey, this happened today. It'd be so great if this could happen. And then I get a text back like 45 seconds later, and it says, consider it done, give me a month. And it's like, damn.
And when we launch this feature, we want everybody's approval to make it. What do you think about that?
I think the misconception that restaurant owners, not just restaurant owners, small business owners, is that because we just don't think that our problem is big enough, or we think that if we make a suggestion or we make a complaint, that it's going to go into the abyss. And I think what Avery's found, what I've found, is that the best companies, like, you need people like us that are actually using the product and trying to break the product, because we know that he's not just doing it for his restaurant. I'm not just doing it for my restaurant. I know that if you can fix it for me, you're going to fix it for 100 other, 1,000 other, 10,000 other case studies, where now we can actually really give a better experience to all of those guests.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, for us, and this is coming from the tech partner side, once you start working with few partners, you see the commonalities of the issues. And it doesn't take long to figure out that, to your point, like it's enough common. If you have a pizzeria running this show, I mean, you can take this, like it is funny enough that it is very common even across geography.
Yep.
It's really not uncommon. If it's the similar business type, the problems are very, very similar globally. And that's really why we love working with our users and power users like Avery and others that give us so much feedback over the time. And frankly, when we love that, I mean, essentially we want to solve this problem. Every time we hear actual power users telling us, "Hey, this is where I'm stuck," in a way, and that's really problem solving mode for us, and we love that part. And frankly, if you told me that what I love about whole creating the company, nothing better than solving a customer problem for me. I don't like any of the other stuff that comes with it, like
Yep.
sell this and that. No, but when you work with a partner, really, then you're kind of one-on-one. You really see the impact of your work, right? And so for us, that's the most rewarding part of this journey.
Yeah,
Avery, I love. Go ahead, Avery.
my favorite thing about a lot of the softwares is just the hidden unknowns that they unlock of, the initial barrier in the hope to solve was, how can I get my drivers to be better dispatched so I can be more hands off? But then the unknown that it actually created was better communication with customers. They now know where the order is, when the driver is going to get there. It's more visibility. From an owner level, I have more visibility. Like I have it open right now. I typically have 2 monitors open, and Shipday is one of them that's usually open over there, where I can see on a map like where my drivers are at, if my orders are on time, if they're late. I know our catering manager always has it up a lot of times in the morning when she's got numerous orders scheduled, like, are things happening logistically on time? And so, that was never like a main like need for me, but it came about after seeing the software in use, where it's like, oh wow, this is huge, and then just all the other things that have came about through it, where it's, we're getting real-time feedback from guests in it. We're seeing reporting of, what's our on-time percentage with drivers, and getting some really great KPIs to hold people answerable to their job of like, this is the standard, guys, are we meeting it?
When you think about your Toast story, can you share the switch from Revel to Toast, and then get a little bit into the integration into Shipday?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, Toast, my story with Toast was actually really funny, because I wrote them off entirely from a 10-second conversation at a trade show, just because their software.
Which trade show?
Columbus, Ohio. This was
Okay.
back in like 2016, maybe, when we signed up, a couple months after. So I worked for Apple, right? And I'm a huge Apple guy. Like I swore that my iPad had to be the point of sale system, and there was no other hardware that would be capable or
Yep.
should, right? And then quickly learned through Revel about 6 months later that there is no software that should run in a restaurant on an iPad, because it's not meant to be in the kitchen and with this kind of heavy use. So we were at a trade show, and Mike Nicastro, my guy at Toast, he's amazing. But we were walking through, and it was another point of sale, right? And my dad's like, take a look at this one, because we were really talking about like, we've got to find something better than Revel. And my dad's like, take a look at this one. I was like, nah, that's Android, that's trash, man. And I just kept walking. And then, like 6 months later, I got an email or something from them where it was like, hey, I want to come out, and just check out your restaurant. I want to show you what I have, but if it's not a fit, it's cool. I'll buy lunch from you, whatever. And so I had a bad day that day, where my point of sale just wasn't being a point of sale, and it was causing me more frustration than it was worth. And so I said, sure. And he came out and he showed it to me, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I think this will work for me. And we ended up making the switch back in like 2016. And I've never looked back. I think it's, I know you have a graph where you have all the different softwares on it, and everything centers around Toast. And it truly does. It's like, it's the hub of our operations. And, there's so many different softwares that we use that are so key in what we do, but it all flows through Toast.
When you think about the feedback that you give to Toast, as you bring on Shipday, I think one of the most important things that I've learned personally is this ecosystem, this tech stack ecosystem, where you have different tech companies at different stages of growth, where Toast was a startup way back when you onboarded with them 2016, but now they have 5,000 employees, almost 100,000 restaurants. And as other partners that you find, that I find, that we want to work with, how do you go about sharing with Toast why that's important? Why is Shipday, that integration, like you said, you're setting up this key so that an email goes to here, and Moen, he's trying to get his relationship strengthened with Toast as well. Can you talk about, walking your way through that and the things that you've learned?
Absolutely. I think, one thing that I've loved about Toast for so long now is that they've always been willing to listen. Just like I said with Moam and Adib, they are willing to take feedback and make change off of that. And so I think very early on in our relationship, I actually connected them with the people up at Toast to help fix some issues that we had of getting the process rolling. But I think that the biggest part with all of the different softwares is, Toast wants to be everything, but they very humbly realize they can't be everything right now or as fast as they could be. And so they rely on these partners with different softwares where they really have a great niche going, and they're able to kind of connect that in and make it work for all of us, because I know truly deep down what Toast does want is for the best experience for their restaurants and the best experience for that restaurant's guests. And so they're willing to connect all those pieces together to make that happen.
Yeah, and at your point, I mean, now I think this is, Shawn, this is really important, that and Avery can connect with more than anybody else. Like, who invented App Store?
Yeah.
Apple.
Yeah.
Invented the App Store, right? It used to be all the old phones that have their own application. There was no barely hardly any third-party applications, right? Now look at your phone.
Yep.
Right? Your phone is useful to you because of all those apps that it has, but doesn't make Apple any weaker, right? It makes Apple the giant, right? I think that's the ecosystem everybody's adopting, and Toast is no stranger to it. So, and I think we want to be part of that, because we do one thing really, really well, and we want to be partnered with other point of sale and other POS or e-commerce platforms to solve the delivery problem for small merchants. And again, we would be the best in class for that, but we don't do anything else. But to Every's world, right, we are part of it. So, but there's a lot of other problems he is solving with other applications. But I think this ecosystem mindset is so much important for tech companies to because at the end of the day, it is to the benefit of the operators, right?
Mhm.
Because your world looks a little bit different than Every's world, and everybody's world looks a little bit different, and then it can configure what they need.
Yeah, I think for me, what's important is the humans. The
Yeah.
humans are the heart of technology. And, when you say something like Apple, it's hard to think about, who's actually the humans behind Apple.
Yeah.
Avery worked at Apple. He was one of, I mean, how many employees does Apple have? A lot.
Yeah.
That's just a lot.
Like a lot. Okay. But when you think of Apple, Google, Facebook, Meta, all of these companies, and then, in the restaurant ecosystem, we have the Toasts, and trying to figure out, well, the humans, back to the storytelling. If you don't have the story of Avery and his restaurant, if you don't have the Cali barbecue story, it's hard to make those case studies. That's why it's so important, if you're listening to this, to know that your voice matters. Like your voice, and there is no stupid question. I know I'm willing to say the stupid things. I have no tech background like Avery. I'm not building my own websites. I'm smart enough to know that I'm so stupid that I need to ask for help. So I'm really good at asking other people that are smarter than me for help, but also knowing that maybe it's possible that no one's even said this to our tech partners. If you're willing to ask the question, you might actually solve a problem that an engineer goes, well, no one's actually said that to me. And if no one said it to me, then we haven't toggled this one button, and this one button fixes an issue across 1,000 of locations, which makes it 5 minutes faster to deliver barbecue or to deliver pizza. And I think for me, understanding that my voice matters has been such a crucial role. Avery, for you, the more that you've leaned into storytelling, the more that you've leaned into Facebook, the more that you've started to do things with America's Best Restaurants, how have you started to understand that it's not just your voice as a restaurant owner, but it's your voice as a business owner? that's really helped you grow and be the company that you guys want to be?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, to talk on connecting with our community, it's like become one of my really big like hobbies. And it's become really fun for me to, become the voice of the company. But what I found the most success with in this is that our employees resonate in that and they want to be a part of that. And they do a lot of the storytelling with us. I think the best restaurants, you can tell if they're great restaurants or if they're not so great restaurants or if they have issues if you talk with their staff and you go, hey, what's it like working here? And they'll go down the rabbit hole of, man, these motherfuckers and this and that, if it's not a great place to work, right? But on the other hand, you've created a great culture where they are invested in that and they go, man, it's the best place ever. Like everybody that works here is so awesome. They take care of us. I really care about this place. And it's a different story. And I think a lot of that comes through them feeling connected with the brand and what, you are, what is your mission, what is your, mission for the community, and how are you going to take care of your community. But it's also important for your community to understand it as well, to be connected with it. They don't go to these local restaurants just because they have great food. They go there because they know the person or the people that are there and they want to be connected with that company. And so it's important that small businesses share their story and connect with their community in ways that they can. I think the most important and influential people in this business are the important figures in your community. Your police officers who touch thousands of people's lives on a weekly basis. Your school leaders who have thousands of kids underneath of them. How do you connect with them on a deeper level to where they are going to tell their immediate community about you because this place is so great because they're connected to you? That's what I got for that. But I threw something else in the chat here that I think you guys should look at. We were talking a little bit about companies and the people, and understanding that people are really important. Through everybody's success story, everybody relies on somebody else. And this was an email that I've had saved on my computer for quite some time. When I worked at Apple, it was going around quite a bit. This was an email Steve sent himself back in September of 2010, about a year before he died. But he talked about he grows a little of the food that I eat. I grow a little of, I do grow. I did not breed or perfect the seeds. I did not make any of my own clothing. I speak a language I did not invent or refine. I did not discover mathematics that I use. I am protected by freedoms and laws I did not conceive or legislate. I do not enforce or additionate. I am moved by music I did not create myself. When I needed medical attention, I was helpless to help myself survive. I did not invent the transistor, the microprocessor, or object-oriented programming, or most in part of the technology that I work with. I love and admire my species, living and dead. I am totally dependent of them for my life and well-being. Like Steve Jobs, when you think of the iPhone, you think of Steve Jobs. When you think of iPod, you think of Steve Jobs. When you think of the Mac or the Lisa, you think of Steve Jobs. But he didn't do any of it. He had great people below him that did all of this with him. And, I think of that for my company. I'm building up a great team of leaders. I'm building up a great team of employees who do great work. And I don't do any of it. They do. I just empower them to do it.
That's so true, Avery. And I think the best thing I remind myself that company, and I think somebody said that company is nothing but a collection of people, right? Like that's it. It's not a paper where you have in there. Really, is a collection of people, a group of people, right? That's the definition of a company. So, how great the company is, how great the people are, right? Everything is kind of secondary.
For you, Moen, when you recruit, how do you think about us? How do you think about the restaurateurs that are going to be coming onto your platform? Because we hear it all the time, as restaurant owners, we go to the trade shows and the conferences, and everybody wants to tell us that they hire restaurant people because they think that that's what we want to hear. And I don't know, Avery, I'd love to hear your perspective of this, and definitely Moen, but for me, sometimes it's great that somebody's worked in a restaurant, they've worked in my shoes, but for me, I'm also encouraged by companies that hire the best engineers there are on the planet because they think completely differently. And it's great to have worked in a barbecue restaurant or to work into a pizza restaurant. Like, it's great to have that hospitality mindset, but it's also great to have that tech background where you're not bothered by any of the things, the preconceptions that we have as restaurateurs. Like, I want somebody that's strong in e-commerce because you're strong in e-commerce. Like, teach me the things that I don't know, because, just because I think the barbecue needs to be done this way, tell me something different. Expand my mind, expand my thinking. Well, I mean, how do you go about it, Moen?
No, I think a couple of part of this, end of the day, one thing matters is that, do you really care?
Yeah.
That's that. Nothing more than that. I mean, that's when even we hire employees, do you really care? Because you are all smart people. Do you really care? And when you care enough, and smart people care enough for solving a problem, they come up with amazing solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So to your point of hospitality, how much I care, I do care that, do they care about what we are doing? Do they care about our customer? Do they care about the small business owners? Do they really want to? I think this is like second best thing beside working for a nonprofit, frankly. You could do, like, help your local community thrive, right? And solve their problems.
Some of them are nonprofits. They're just not tax exempt.
Yeah, we call startups a nonprofit too sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other part of this is that I think that when you don't come with the burden, I would say, quote unquote, burden of how it is done, that you have a you have an open page, right? You don't know, right? And there's the advantage of that. The advantage is that really you think in a different way. And oftentimes the solutions are kind of amazing at the end of the day, because what we want from the restaurants, understanding the problems, that do we understand the problems deeply enough? But the solution could be a little bit different than you might have thought that would be, because, and sometimes not all solutions are great, I got to tell you, but sometimes we come up with good. But that opening up that opportunity for the engineers, that, hey, you don't have to have a restaurant background per se, but understand this is the problem. Let's find a better, and again, we really care a lot about the product, and like, it's not only solving the problem, but solving a tasteful way. Is this the minimum viable? Is this the best way to solve the problem? Like, there are A, B, C, D. There are different ways to do this, and everybody can talk about that. Adam and I spent enormous amount of time about making sure this is the best possible way to do something. Like, because we know what needs to be done, but how do you do it, right? And that's why, frankly, part of that is a little bit of the restaurant I think you can connect with. It's like, everybody can make a burger, but does that all burger taste good?
Yeah.
Or the pizza, right? There's a recipe to it. Like, and those are very nuanced things often. And I think, and that's where the care part comes in. If you care enough, you do a good job at that.
What do you think, Avery?
So, with me for hiring, the biggest key for us is identifying if they're a fit for our culture or not.
Yeah.
We talk about during the interview, what we are as a company, where we're going, where we came from, our mission to create great pizza, to create lasting memories worth sharing. We talk about how we want the guests to perceive their experience with us. We talk with the new hire about all of those things. And if during that interview they're engaged and they're, oh wow, and they're asking questions and they're shaking their head, they're a fit. Or if they're just sitting there like, they're not a fit. And so we quickly identify through that interview process of whether or not they're going to fit that. I can teach anybody how to do anything. I can teach anybody how to make great pizza or to give great service. What I can't teach them how to do is care, like Moen said, about our business and about where we're going and about what they're doing. If they're just there for a paycheck, they're not going to care. And so, I think for me, it's identifying if they're a culture fit. And through all of our systems that we have in place, we're able to hold people answerable to doing their job properly, because we have identified what their job is, how to do it, more importantly, by when, and we keep people answerable to that.
You recently won Best Restaurant in Ohio. What did that mean to you and the team?
That was a big one. That was unexpected, to say the least. but it almost felt like we reached the pinnacle moment. But I told my staff we're just getting started because, you know, we're just in this new building for the first year. We've just grown our staff double this in 2023 this year.
Wow.
And, you know, we're just getting started, and we've already won this. Like, what's coming up? It's hard to
Wow.
imagine, but you know, to be recognized by our restaurant association as the best restaurant in Central Ohio is pretty humbling. There was a whole award show, and, you know, people giving speeches and all that. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I was not expecting this to be in a room full of 300 plus fantastic operators, like some of the best names in the restaurant business in Ohio. Cameron Mitchell, owners from City Barbecue, founders of Wendy's. Like, what? Some amazing restaurateurs in this room, and like, we won best restaurant. It's wild.
You said, what are you building? When when you bring somebody on, you share your vision for the future. What is the vision for the future?
Well, so moving into the larger store that we did this year was step one. We wanted to have a place that, you know, I strongly believe in, and it's the community gathering place for our community. We're at the main intersection in town now, where we occupy the entire block, and it's the place to be. And so the goal for me is to establish that at least 2 more times. Now, do I want to do that next year or then the following year? Probably not. I need a little break from doing that, because that was a lot of work, and we're finally at a point where, like, we've settled into, you know, the normal. But 2024, I'm focusing on a food truck. How do I engage with the community in more ways other than our brick and mortar? And I want to be a part of every event, every festival, every fair, every whatever. I want to be there. If people are there, I want to be there. I don't even care. I said this to my coach. I said, I don't even care if I make money with this thing. I really didn't build it. I spent a bunch of money on it, but I really don't care if I make money with it, because I just want to be connected with the community, because I want them to be like, man, Little Italy is always there. Like, let's go there, you know? And so if we can drive somebody back to the restaurant because we have a food truck, cool. Next thing we're doing is, I don't know if I can tell you. When's this releasing?
It won't be out until January, sometime February, possibly. We'll hold the release. When is it? Make the announcement, and we'll hold the release.
Yeah.
We are building a coffee shop bakery with our old location. And
Yes.
so we are, you know, furthering our connection with Groveport and our residents. You know, coffee is a great way to connect with community, and people come in and meet with each other and have a cup of coffee. So, you know, our new tagline for that is brewing connections. You know, so we're just wanting to be the gathering place for people to come connect.
That's amazing. What's the plan for Groveport Greats, your series? So we'll put a link in the show notes, but this is like one of the coolest things that I've seen in 2023, and I'm proud of you, man. It's something that we talk about all the time, and there's very few people that are doing it. We know that the people that listen to this show, watch the show, they are the people that actually take action, and you're a man of action, and you've been doing a phenomenal job. Share about the series.
So it actually came about completely unexpectedly. I was not planning on making an entire video series out of this that would actually be like viewable, that people would be entertained by. And it just turned into that. The initial concept that I had was, how can I get people engaged on our social media? Because that's the goal, is like build engagement. How can I get people engaged to go to said location and pick up these prize packs? Like, I had this idea of dropping off just a bunch of gift cards at a location, and like there would be 10 available that day, and every day of the week they could go to that location and get them. And, you know, that day I would post a little video like, hey, I'm here, the gifts are here, come get them, whatever. And then that evolved to like, well, that's not going to work, because then people are just going to come steal them all, to I want to relate with businesses while we do this, and how can we get people into the local businesses? So what we ended up doing is a video series called Groveport Greats, and I picked 4 great Groveport businesses that are the start of the series, where we filmed a little video skit that day at their location to highlight them and their business, and made it funny for our viewers. And you know, the great part about it is those organizations shared it with all of their followers, and their followers shared it with all their friends that found it funny. And so again, it's just about connecting with the right people in your community. And so We did one with the local police, and
That
it
one's
got
awesome.
over 100 and something thousand views on Facebook alone. And you know, that's like the first video that I've done really that even did anything other than like our lives, getting just like a couple people on our page seeing it. But it did really well. And then the police station shared it, and then you know
Right.
everybody's commenting like, "This is so funny." And I was at my family Christmases, and everybody's like, "I seen your little videos; they were hilarious." And I'm like, "Well, did you see this other one?" They're like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, you got to watch that one." And so, you know, that's how I know it's working. It's just getting people to talk about us and be top of mind. And you know, if they see me in my pizza shirt, which I should have worn it, but I'm at home today, so I'm not. Um, if they can see me in that and kind of think back to the restaurant, then you know, we've done something right.
It's awesome.
So
Well,
moving
we
forward with that series, we're going to be featuring other local important people in our community. I think I'm going to do some stuff with the school system, some coaches and stuff like that, just to do something really funny and highlight them, their organization, what they're doing. And, you know, pizza will just be a small part of it.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys for watching, for listening. We want you to get involved. We are moving to LinkedIn Live. So every Wednesday, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, you can join us on LinkedIn Live. That's an audio event. It's essentially a live podcast. It's restaurateurs, it's tech founders, salespeople, content creators. We believe a rising tide lifts all ships. So we will put a link in there so you guys can join us on stage. Avery, thank you so much for your time. Moen, how can people find Shipday? We'll put links to both your guys' brands, but Moen, what's the best way for people to connect with Shipday if they have any questions?
Yeah, no, just shipday.com, www.shipday.com. You know, we have a phone number, call us or chat with us, email us. We are there for you. And we really want to, you know, appreciate everybody for coming in. And the best, you know, we think as a community that we are trying to help. So, you know, if you have any questions, feel free to even talk to one of our users. We can introduce you. So if you want to understand more, I think that's always good.
I can't wait to come to visit you, Avery. One day that's happening for sure.
Well, I just booked a cruise, and I was gonna go through the one out of Los Angeles, and was hoping I could swing up, but
Oh,
we ended up doing the one out of New York. So
okay.
not.
Not well, when you make it to the West Coast, and that goes for anybody listening or watching. If you guys make it to San Diego, come get some barbecue, get a selfie, do some video content on the roof, get some barbecue. But Avery, what's the best place for people to connect with you? What's your most active digital playground?
Facebook for sure, Little Italy Ristorante, or our website, littleitallygroveport.com.
And are you posting more on LinkedIn?
It's a
I'm gonna
hard
get
pull,
you.
dude.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
get
know
you
you
there.
won't.
I'm gonna get you there. More
We're
on
definitely active
LinkedIn,
on Facebook.
more on Instagram. We're gonna make it happen. Avery, I appreciate it, man. Moen, that's been awesome. Thank you guys for paying attention as always. Stay curious, get involved, and don't be afraid to ask for help. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you.